Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Reasonably Effective podcast brought to you by myself, Uncommon Fossil, and joined as always by 10 Types.
Yep, hello everyone, and also Uncommon Fossil, happy Father's Day. We're recording this on Father's Day, though not posting it on Father's Day. And today we're going to be making a top 10 list, I guess, of the Destiny Rivals decks, but it's like a tier list as well. But we're going to spend more time on the top 10.
Yes, I think your idea was a top 10 list. Then you or I suggested, yeah, maybe a tier list as we do it. And I think right now you added some, and then I added some, and we're at like 23, but we'll go really quickly with things. And because we had so many, I've gone down to F tier. Now I'm going to just throw out the F tier one first because we'll hit some of these quick, and it's going to be High Dragon EX. And I think you agree that it's F tier
I
as
don't think so. Well, I
well.
think F tier is like unplayably bad. Um,
Okay,
yeah.
so here's what I mean by F tier and how we're rating it. So we'll talk about that in a minute anyway. I think the idea is if you were going to play in an event or expect to have a good win rate, these are the decks to choose. I was playing High Dragon EX earlier today, so I like it, and you can win with it. But there's two things. That's how we personally feel about it. I also looked at Limitless, the online results, and the IC is actually going on as we're recording. We'll make a few comments on that, but that wasn't the driver. It's not like we were trying to predict the best decks for NEIC, and I don't think we're trying to sort out the meta per se. It's kind of what the general meta probably is for Destin Rivals. I would
Yeah,
expect it
and
will
what's
always
the best
change.
decks? Right now, top 10 best decks.
Right, but because like as we're recording, Gardevoir is going to win NAIC. We don't know which player, and but therefore people are going to play Gardevoir a lot over the next week, and therefore you might want to shift what you play. But I'm not. We're not. I don't think we're not taking that into account. Like this, the meta shifts week to week. That we're not concerned about that. My point is High Dragon. Look, I like it. It's fun. It can win. It's not like based on play. First off, it's not played a lot in events because I get it. It's awkward. The attack's okay. The milling's okay, and you'll win some games. Is kind of how it is. But the win rate's 41%, which is low for it's too low to be a good deck. So I mean, you could say it's like a D tier or something like that, but it's not a good deck, and I think it's probably the bottom of the decks we're talking about
Um,
today.
I don't know. Oh, also random thing. For specifically my viewers, I am trying to do new mic today to see if that's sounds nice or not. But regardless, yeah, High Dragon isn't very good. I'm certainly not going to argue that it is good. I think there might be some decks that are worse than it. I'm not sure. I think it's like in that crop of bottom decks here. I'm going to pop it into D tier, I guess. It doesn't really matter. It's certainly not top 10. I think Great Tusk is really bad too. We have this in because in Play Limitless, it has like a really high win rate, I think. But also, like, it's not played very much. What is it?
It
Uh,
on my list, it's 0%. It's less than a half percent, so it's zero. I put it in because you mentioned we're talking because the win rate's 54%,
oh,
which
someone
puts
someone
it.
has since played it. Or maybe not. Am I looking at the wrong thing?
Well, I'm looking at the combined archetypes. That you can look at Limitless. You can also combine archetypes. We're doing the combined archetypes in a sense. We're not like splitting. We'll have to talk about a couple of them, how they split up. But um, like Dragapult is just one Dragapult deck kind of thing per se. But we'll have to consider that a little bit. Yeah, I looked at these stats yesterday. Was where I got the number. So it's but 54 win percent. I think makes it like in the top 50 makes it like tied for right now it's 50, yeah, it's 53 right now, but it's like the fourth highest win rate, so it wins a lot, right? Which you that it doesn't it's so I think it's better than certainly. I mean, I put it at the bottom of C tier. You want a D tier,
I think
I
it's D
assume.
tier. I'm gonna put it in D tier. I mean, I don't think it's very good. Ultimately, with Great Tusk, it's a pure mill deck. The goal is to, of course, mill your opponent out through the use of your attack, which we'll just say mills for every turn. You do need to set up to do that, and there was some other disruption as well, but I think that's like pretty sketchy. Ultimately, you're gonna struggle to close out games pretty consistently with the deck. I think. I haven't really played it, or no, I've not played it in the. I don't even know if I played it post rotation, and I don't think I've seen it post rotation. But I mean, ultimately, if it's a deck I'm playing against, I'm not that scared of it. So I think it's pretty bad. Head Dragon, also Head Dragon EX, is a bench attacking Pokemon, kind of. It's not just that, but it has that element to it, and that's pretty. I don't know if it's like horrendous in the format, but Shaman is played honestly a bunch, and that's something you don't want to see. And so that's partially why Head Dragon's low. But I mean, yeah, I could put it above Head Dragon. I'm gonna put it in D tier though.
Okay, I'll put it now. It's sitting at the top of D tier is where it's at. So All right, I'm blanking for a second, but what's there? There's a grass deck on our list that's a wall deck, right? Which Spite Ops. Why
Oh,
don't we?
okay,
Because we
yeah.
just did Mill, so why don't we do Spite Ops? And I gotta try to remember which image is Spite Ops here,
Yeah,
but
it's the Oh, they kind of look similar. I don't know how to describe. I mean, this is the Spider Ops. But yeah, so Spider Ops is a deck that, honestly, I was also going to mention as one of the potentially worst decks here. I just looked at a list. I think I played against this deck on the ladder, and I think it. I don't remember what I was playing. I think I won. I don't even remember. I might have been playing some horrible deck. But regardless, yeah, Spider Ops EX. It's like a trapping Pokemon, but it's not like a very strong trapping Pokemon. And then like control isn't that good. I mean, I imagine Pidgeot control is better than Spite Ops. I haven't played Pidgeot in oh no, I played Pidgeot a little in standard since rotation, and I think maybe within Dust and Rivals format. And it's like okay. I mean, but we're not talking about it here. It's not top 10. I think Spite Ops is also pretty bad. I think it could be the worst deck on this list,
I mean the win rate's 49%,
which
so
isn't like
that's no, that's better than it
yeah. Well,
puts it in
so
the
if
top
you're playing against this deck,
15
the question is
probably.
like how good do you think this is? If you were playing with it, how good do you think it would be? I think it's pretty bad.
So it depends on the list, right? So this list, Spite Ops, which gets you stuck. We've got Milotic, which they can't, they've got
What list are? Oh, the third
I'm looking
list.
at, yeah, Klefki, Abra, Genesect with the to know A specs, Chi-Yu to do some milling. So I think it's kind of in that vein, right? It's kind of a control slash wall deck of some sort, right? I don't know how good it is. I mean, it's seen some decent results, probably because people aren't prepared for it, right?
Yeah, but
So
ultimately, I mean, I don't think it's good. Well, I mean, I don't think I ever think it's good. I think it's. I mean, I could put it at the top of D tier. I don't really care.
I'd put it below Great Tusk, probably.
Sure, sure, that's fine.
All right. I put it, I mean, I had it kind of, yeah, middle of D tier, which, I think you're fine with that. Anyway, that's enough about that. So what deck do you want to talk about next?
I'm trying to think what other decks I think are really bad here. I think that I think there's two other grass decks that I also think are really bad here. Um, I think Toadstool is pretty bad. Toadstool EX is a stage one. What it's paired with like Ogerpon. It's not paired with Yanmega, is it? I'm not really sure. I've not seen it in the format at all. Wait, so why is it on here? That's not a top 10 deck for
Well,
you, right?
no, it's mid C tier though. I had it like my 13th deck. Look, here's the good things.
Oh, and
First,
also I will say,
so
so we were supposed to rank all these decks before. I did not actually rank all of them. I ranked most of them, but not the ones we added later. And I actually missed a couple as well. I said like we were like counting the decks, and we got confused because I like missed some. Oh, I actually yeah, I missed Toadstool and Yanmega. They were not ranked for me. I just forgot them, but I don't think they're very good.
So, I mean, first, it has a decent engine, Squawkabilly, Pheasantipity, Teal Mask Ogre Pond, plus bug catching set, which I like. So that's one of the things I was paying attention to. But also, the win rate is 52%. So that's pretty good. What it is, it's a deck that grass can be a really good weakness now. So if you
Yeah,
look at the win rates between things, it's really split,
yeah, matchup
if you know what I
mainly,
mean.
right?
The matchup. There's some decks it does really well against, some decks it does really bad against. That's a negative to
This
it,
has the
right?
worst matchup. It has a 13 or 14% win rate against guard by that. That's pretty bad. But yeah, I mean, get like one shot. There are decks at one shots where it's really good, and it seems like pretty bad against like everything else, honestly. Not that the grass weak decks are good. There's three that we'll talk about. Wait, three? Oh well, High Dragon is grass weak, but there's I think three good grass weak decks, and they are all in its top 10 matchups. I think. No, pretty close. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good against those, and like pretty bad to horrendous against the others. I don't know. I mean, I think it's not very good. It's not super strong. It just doesn't look like it has really any strengths in general to it. I mean, it's like HP is kind of whatever. Honestly, the deck I'd compare it most to, because it's a stage one EX, I could just kind of compare it to Gholdengo. You're aiming to do big damage, and then that's about it. You have like minor disruption with the single prize Toadstool, which I guess is actually good against Gholdengo, though I can't imagine that matchup's like yeah, I mean, obviously, like percent win rate percentage and stuff with decks that aren't played very much, especially isn't as meaningful. But oh, and also this is for like just general play. Some of it, like I guess playing on Pokemon TCG Live rank ladder is like the main thing we're talking about. But like in anything, honestly, in any Pokemon TCG play, it's not that different. But Yeah, I think Toadschool is pretty bad as well. I mean, I could put it in C tier, I guess. So I'll say when I was ranking and putting these decks into tiers, I didn't actually do that, but I have almost every deck. I'm gonna have all my top 10 decks in A tier. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'll say that.
Okay, I mean, I have S. My top 10 probably hits S, A, and B, and honestly, even C potentially. But anyway, it depends how narrow you're being with it. Look, we can put Toadschool at top of D or C. I'm okay either way.
Okay, I'm putting it in the top of D tier. I think it's the fourth worst deck here. Just looking at them, I don't think there are any other decks on this list that are truly horrible. I don't really know much about. I mean, I know a little bit about Blissey. I don't really know what to say about it here, to be honest. But and then Yanmega. I also don't think
Okay.
Yanmega is very good. Those are the other two decks that I think are pretty weak on this list. But yeah,
Okay, so you brought up Blissey, so let's talk about that. And I put Blissey in as we were expanding things. So Blissey's win rate, it's not played a lot, but the win rate's about 52% winning
yeah. But then
around,
again,
and
like
that's
the less decks
good.
played, the worse the less the win rate matters, right?
Yeah, yeah, but it's look, so it, it's there's some interesting decks. Honestly, I'm playing that one now because there's Blissey with Scorch and Monkey Dory, which is just absurd in a
Yeah,
sense,
Monkey
right?
Dory. Who's playing Monkey Dory? That's crazy.
Everybody's playing Monkey Dory, and you always say it's bad in decks, but I
Yeah, no,
that's
it's good. It's good in Blissey. It's good in Blissey.
in because of the energy and you can move it around. So playing it with Scorch is kind of a not. I mean, it's a weird way to play it, but Blissey's uh, yeah, it lets you do different things because you move energy around. So right, so it's fun. It's a type of deck I think you would like. I like. What do you do with it is tricky and awkward, right? So yeah, Bliss is not great. There's a lot of things you can do with it. So I you know, but again, it could be C D tier. It's kind of again top of D, bottom of C, but C tier at this point. I think.
Yeah, I'm fine
What do
putting it
you?
as the first C tier deck. It's fun. I mean, I
Okay.
like it. You like it, so yeah. Why not put it here?
Right, and it's a deck that can be a lot of different things, so that makes it harder to classify. And then we'll hit the last of the grass because you brought that up, which is Yanmega. So I have it in C tier. I think it's honestly potentially borderline top 10. It
Borderline
plays one
top
of my
10.
look. First off, it has a good engine. It plays the Dunsparce
I don't know
usually.
about that. The Dunsparce. Okay, so I always say the Dunsparce. If you're not familiar, I think the Dunsparce is like, I don't know if I'd say terrible. I mean, I think it's pretty weak.
I Yeah, you
Um,
hate it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the engines, the game and standard, they're not the strongest, right? We lost a lot with rotation.
Yeah.
But the reason why I think the Dunsparce is so bad is because when you're looking for an engine, you're looking for something that's like consistent, right? And like drawing your cards throughout the course of the game. There could be other reasons. Also, why isn't Limitless loading all my cards? Okay. So the Dunsparce, it draws 3 cards and stuffs itself into your deck. Drawing 3 cards is good. You compare it to Enzoric EX, I think that's a pretty good, a pretty standard engine. It's not amazing. It has some issues with it, certainly, but that's a fair engine. Compared to it's drawing 2 cards. You want it to be, at least drawing 2 cards most of the time. And it's drawing 3, except for the fact that the cards you're trying to draw, in order to keep the engine going, you're looking to draw more of the Dunsparce pieces, right? So you need a Dunsparce and a Dunsparce, which is 2 cards, and so essentially it's like taking up 2 cards every time you're using it. So it's only really netting you 1 card, kind of. That's like a little weird way. Like it's kind of weird describing it, but that's kind of how I describe it. It allows for burst draw potential, which can be really good, specifically in something like Gholdengo EX. I think it's pretty useful there when you're looking for big one shots. And then if you miss a turn, then you miss a turn. But you're kind of setting up for the next turn. It's like an engine that requires commitment going into it, which isn't something you really want from an engine. But yeah, that's like, it requires things to work, and that's not, again, you want your engine to be something that's nice and consistent, low commitment, kind of like Pheasant Dip DX. Obviously, Pheasant Dip DX is
Well,
the best engine card in the game, but
well, all right, I'm going to push back on that. First off, Jan Mega's the list I'm looking at plays Pheasantipity as well. I think Jan Meg
yeah, yeah,
Pheasantipity is kind of a small engine card. Like a real
yeah,
engine is like having something like Knocked Owl,
yeah.
right?
No, Pheasant Dip
Or
DX isn't a
Enzo.
whole engine, but is as a draw card. It's like it's really good. I don't think, like, it's arguably the best card in the game. It's probably top 5, top 10.
It is.
Um,
It's tough though to say if that's the only draw card you have.
oh
It's
yeah,
not
that's
really.
not
I
enough.
don't. Your deck
But
doesn't really have an engine. Like I said, I think say it has a small engine, right? In
yeah,
a
no, I
sense.
agree with that. Yeah.
So having to Dunsparce and Fenzidipity is good. So Yanmega's fun because it accelerates energies to itself from deck. You like that. everybody likes that. That's the best way to accelerate energies, I would say, right? In general.
Yeah.
Um, and then it's fun because you have to actually move the energies from the attacker to the bench, which is really interesting, I think. Um, yeah, it accelerates 3 to itself and it moves 3 to the bench. So therefore, like this list plays Iron Hands, and obviously you can power that up very nicely with it, which is interesting. So it's kind of I kind of it's fun, is what I'll say, or it's
Yeah. No, I like that.
interesting. So I mean, I think it's. I guess we'll put it in. I think I want to put it in C tier. I think
I'm
you
fine with
probably
that.
agree to
I
that.
don't. Yeah. And
We'll
also you
put it up.
mentioned. We
You,
mentioned
go
that,
ahead.
that his grass weakness, or no, we mentioned that I don't know, we mentioned that with like Toad School, I think. And so
Yeah,
that's very meaningful for it as well. Grass weakness is one of the better weaknesses to hit in the game, if not the best. Hitting weakness in the game right now, like there's not like one type that's completely dominating or one weakness that like is the one you need to be hitting. But grass is probably the best one, so I think that's also meaningful for this deck. Ultimately, I think it's a little clunky. It's relying on switches. Oh, Dunsparce does like give you switches as well. That is pretty meaningful here. I don't think the Dunsparce engine is
right.
like horrendous with Yanmega. I think it's not like the only option though. And I think Yanmega EX itself, I mean, it does 210. I guess we've talked about cards. We haven't really explained them because ultimately these aren't going to be in the top 10, I don't think. But
Yeah,
it's like it does like solid damage. It's taking one shots with weakness, but um, it's not like doing that much, and I mean, it's like doing 210, right? That's what it's doing. Yes, you can power up some
right.
other Pokemon, but like that's not a main part of the deck, and that's about it, right? Mostly you're just doing 210, and you have some shenanigans, but ultimately you're not really like that's not that much damage. And then we'll talk about other decks that like do that, but do more as well.
Right. I mean, it's 280 HP. You can't be getting one shot every turn. If you do that, you're probably going to lose. So it's tricky. It does get to play my friend Jet Energy, which you hate. So I'm pleased to point that out to you because you need some switching. The one thing I like with this list, which I got to think about now, is they're playing Dusk Ball in the deck, and
Oh, that's very
interesting
fun.
for Dusk,
Wait,
because which is weird to see in a deck, right? And I was you look at the bottom 7 cards, so it's like kind of the opposite of Great Ball. But if you're worried about Iono and you're going to have the cards you have in hand, then Dust Ball maybe is something to think about in some decks. So I hadn't really thought about that before. So that flashed to my mind as we're recording. So just wanted to point that out. Maybe Dust Ball has some value in some decks. So look, I'm saying let's put Yanmega top of C tier, better than Blissey. You good with that?
yeah, no, I'm certainly fine with that. I don't think Yanmega is like horrendously awful or anything. Also, like my tiers are low. Like C tier for me is still like not very good. But then I think I guess we're still going up here. I think the another pretty weak deck here is the Rockets Mewtwo EX deck or whatever. I imagine you kind of feel similarly, right?
Well, I have it. It's a I think it's a
It's
top
top
10
10.
deck.
Okay, okay,
I think
that's
it's a
interesting.
lower top 10 deck. So the downside, just has no engine. Maybe Pheasantipity, but
Yeah,
I've
well,
seen
that's a
lists without
good.
even,
Yeah, no on-board draw engine. Yeah.
and I've seen lists without Pheasantipity as well.
Oh yeah, I don't think most
Um,
do. I played it and I didn't play Pheasant Dipty.
so what it has it's the Team Rockets package with the receiver. What Team
Yeah,
Rockets
transceiver.
transceiver. That's kind of the engine, which is kind of like engineless decks can play Pokegear 3.0. This actually is essentially a much better Pokegear 3.0 as long as you're playing just the Rocket supporters because you get to search your deck for one. So it's got the Mewtwo, the Rocket's Mewtwo is the main attacker, which is okay for its damage. And then when it's playing, I think as a secondary attacker is Spite Ops. So um, and again,
Yeah,
Spite Ops for Grass Weakness is good. So I think this is actually takes nice advantage of the Spite Ops, I would say.
yeah. I played this. Have you played with this deck, or have you not?
I don't think I played a build with I a little bit, but not too much. Is what I'd say.
Okay, so I haven't played it that much either. I've certainly seen it. People are playing it a bunch when it first came out, and then they're playing it less now, which is common with most new decks. But
Yeah,
ultimately, Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX is kind of hard to attack with all the time. You are actually attacking with Team Rocket Spite Ops a lot, though it's not like super strong. Um, And then it's a little clunky. I mean, the attacking Pokemon just aren't super amazing. They're a little situational and like situational, and even when they're good, they're just like good. They're not insane. And then when they're not good, they're kind of useless. So specifically Team Rocket's Mimikyu, but then other ones as well. Ultimately, the deck's
Yeah,
pretty fun. The engine's really good, or I guess I mean like the supporter draw engine plus Team Rocket's transceiver is good, and you have the stadium as well. Team Rocket's factory to draw some extra cards,
right.
but you're ultimately not really like super strong. You have high HP, which is cool, but you're at Darkness weak, and Darkness is one of the better types in the game right now. We're talking about Grass weak Pokemon, and a lot of those are Darkness Pokemon. Um, and so that's not amazing. And again, like the deck just doesn't have the attacking Pokemon aren't that strong, which is like a really big
Y-
deal and arguably the most important thing in a deck.
Yeah, no, I mean the trainers, the set with the trainers plus Team Rocket's transceiver is good. Team Rocket's energy is good. You have the stadium, like you mentioned, which I forgot to say, because that's like a big part of the engine too, just an extra 2 cards every turn. But therefore, to kind of make it balanced, they made the Pokemon not quite good enough, right? So that's the big problem is the Mewtwo and all the other Pokemon. So I think it's got to be like what top of C tier then. You don't want it to high, or do you want it B tier?
Um, I think top is C tier. I could see it maybe a little higher. I don't think it's definitely worse than the decks, than all the other decks here. I think it or not, there's another deck I see that I think is worse, but yeah, this deck is definitely not super strong. I'm not sure how many decks there are left, but I think it's not top 10. I think it's definitely not going to be top 10. But yeah,
All right. So do you want it B or C? That's the all right.
no,
That's
I'll
it's
put
one
it
of
I put
those
it in
two.
C tier for now.
Okay. So I'm putting it top of C. I think it's definitely top of C if
Yeah,
it's
I
in C
agree.
tier at this point. All right. So where do you want to go next?
Um,
Um,
I could go with a deck that I think's bad. I think ultimately you have some decks that you think are bad that I think are pretty good. I have some
yeah.
decks I think are bad that you think are pretty good as well. This is, by the way, my tier list or my rankings that I prepared beforehand are based on like obviously tier lists are subjective unless they're just data, which I personally think like I don't know, I'd say tier list is like always subjective, but mine is extra subjective tier today, and yours is not. Yours is more objective than normal. So, anyways, I'll go with a deck that is fun that I think a lot of people, or it's not a lot of people, well, some people think is pretty good. And this is the Ethan's Ho-Oh, or I don't know, it's represented by Ethan's Ho-Oh EX. It is the Ho-Oh Arm Rouge deck, so what's called Limitless here. Um,
Yeah.
where you have Ethan's Ho EX to accelerate energy essentially onto your board, then you can like get to where you want it to be. I played this deck some. It's like not amazing. Actually, I guess we need to talk about some other decks when we to talk about this. I think it's pretty similar to it's kind of like Joltic Box, except instead of accelerating the energy with the attack, which is easier to do, but is using up a turn. Instead, you're accelerating it onto your board using an ability, which means you can do it more often, or you can do it throughout the course of the game, and also you can do it like you can assume you have a Charcadet on your board, you can kind of burst this into play from nowhere, but it's a lot more clunky in doing so. And also, just like Joltic Box, it does not play an engine. So it's kind of like they're honestly kind of similar decks in my opinion. They have obviously some different attacking Pokemon, but they both play Iron Hands EX generally. I think. I mean, I know Joltic Box does. I don't remember if Ho-Oh EX always does, but it's definitely pretty. It's a fun deck. It's not like insanely strong, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I would think you're always playing Iron Hands because you can get the fires up and then you just attach probably like a Luminous or something to your Iron Hands and you go with it. It's nice. It's a box deck. I think we both like box decks. I don't. Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's that good. It also plays Mew is the part of the engine too, I guess. Although, it plays Squawkabilly EX at least the one I'm looking at. So there's a bunch of decks that play that some too. But I don't think it's all that great of a deck, honestly. The win rate, it's not played a lot. 2%, it's not that super high. It's 44% win rate. And it's played 2%, so it's played an okay amount. So that's it's just, I think it's okay, is what I'd say. It's not a deck. The concept I love. I love the Armor Rouge with the Ho-Oh. I don't think there's a good build of it at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, Uncommon Fossil, I have a question regarding my headset, which we have changed. I pressed the button below the mute button. What is that button, or do you not know?
There's one below the mute. Wait, no, there's. Oh, is there a button there?
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know what that
I
is.
hope it's fine. So
Okay,
yeah,
you sounding okay to me. So
okay, that's good. So anyways, yeah, I think it's like not amazing. I think it's honestly probably kind of similar to Team Rocket's B2 EX. It's a deck that I've heard some people say is really good as well. I don't see that like in playing it, it's just kind of whatever.
mm,
I I guess we'll get to it. I think it's pretty similar caliber deck to Joltik Box. I think they're, it's like it's not that good. So I think it's like C tier, B tier. I could see it in B tier.
Okay, I mean, I have it in D tier on my
D
ranking.
tier.
I gotta say.
I think it's. I mean,
And,
it ultimately you have strong Pokemon. They're not insanely strong, but they're pretty good. You can one-shot most Pokemon in the game, and you can also you have Iron Hands EX as well to do essentially the same thing but to single prize Pokemon. And then you also have obviously like you can power Pokemon up pretty not necessarily super easily, but you can power it up whenever you want, which is really good. And then you also comparing it to Joltik Box, because as I said, I think this is like comparable. Joltik Box is often
well,
relying on supporter cards to or no, Joltik Box is it's relying on supporter cards to like your boss orders and Crispin to keep your game flowing and doing what you need to do. This is less reliant on that because you have more different attackers to avoid needing boss all the time. Then also you have you don't need Crispin, right? You're doing other stuff. So then you're playing more
y-
draw supporters, which I think does feel better comparing it to Joltik Box. And I think you think Joltik Box is fine. I think you have that above D tier, right? I gotta assume.
I think Joltik Box is pretty good. So let's hang off on that for right now. I know there was a huge on the Armarouge Ho-Oh. Part of it is the deck's got a lot of Pokemon, and I'm concerned with bench space too.
Well,
I
but you're
gotta
not
say,
playing most of these Pokemon. Well, I guess it does
you
have a
need
bunch of.
well,
Uh,
you need one Armarouge, and if that
yeah,
gets knocked out, then you're
yeah.
done.
So probably
Okay, so
two armors, two armors.
okay, that's not good. Then you might need two Ho-Ohs, right?
Probably one.
Depending
I
if
mean,
you
usually plays
do
two.
you, do you want
When
to
I
attack
play,
with Iron Hands?
yeah, you have an
Then
attacker,
you
then you
need
have one attacker.
but then if you want Iron Hands, then you need two Ho-Oh EXs, right? Because you need to get 5 energies on it in one turn.
Five
You've
or
got so
four.
anyway you
Yeah,
got
fives.
so
Yeah.
let's say between our Ho-Oh and Armarouge, that's 3 deck spots. You've got to have Latias for switching probably. You need Pheasantipity. So now what do I have room? I
Well,
can
but you
have
do have areas you're underdepths as well.
yeah. Yeah, as long as that doesn't get bump. I'm a little concerned with bench space, right? And if I start with Squawkabilly or Cleffa, I you know what I'm saying? I'm a little
Not
concerned with
gonna
bench
lie,
space.
I think you're a little overrating the setup potential of this deck. But
Okay, so
yeah, it's a
anyway,
little clunky. I think it works out most of the time. Ultimately, I think you just have one attacking Pokemon and play at a time, and that's kind of what you're doing. You have the other Pokemon and you have pivots, and then you're okay
yeah.
doing that.
Yeah, Lattice. So you've got to then also be getting your next attacker into hand every turn too, and that's a
Yeah,
little tricky too.
that's a little
So,
tricky. Yeah.
so I mean, I'm not. I don't think it's B tier. I got to say.
Okay, that's fine. I can put it
Um,
in C tier. I can put it. Um,
and where do you want it there?
I'd put it like top or below Mewtwo. I don't have it top 10. I'm looking at. Oh yeah, I have it pretty low on my list.
All right, let's
But
put it below Mewtwo then,
okay.
if you're willing to do that. I think that's a good compromise. Should we talk about the other Ethan's deck then?
Sure. Ethan's Typhlosion, which I think both of us are kind of low on, which is it's a stage two deck. It's a deck that's played a good amount. It's a single prize attacking in stage two. I will say, being a single prizer, doesn't. I mean, it's not like it doesn't matter in the deck, but with single prize decks, you're like, oh, I could like attack 6 times. You're definitely not attacking 6 times with this deck. You're attacking like four at most, because you don't usually play that much recovery from what I've seen. And then also you have it's a stage two, and you're not like rare candying all the time, and you're just like not attacking all that many times. So honestly, it plays kind of like a stage two EX deck. You'd get your Ethan's Adventure in the discard, which is relatively easy to do. One could be prize, and it's kind of hard to get it out of the prize. It's doable, but it's not super easy, in my experience and playing against it as well. And yeah, so I'd say it's like. I mean, I think it is the best deck we've talked about so far. I don't think it's a top 10 deck, but I think it's okay. Actually, no, I think on
Yeah.
my list I actually do have it as the 10 deck, deck number 10, but I don't think it's super amazing.
Okay, and I have it 11, so we're close there. It's played 5% for share, so that's a solid amount. The win rate's 47%, not ideal. And they are playing redeemable ticket in this list I'm looking at. That's
Yeah,
to try to get out of your prizes. So, and then they've got there's a Victini to, and then for engines because the base the stage one the Quilava or Quilava I guess does get you the Ethan's Adventure, so that's important in the deck. You don't always run a rare candy, so you don't need so many rare candies. That's good. And then I've seen it either with the Pidgeot EX engine, which of course is very good once that's set up, or with the Drake Loke. engine.
Yeah, I've
And
seen a lot of different builds of this deck. I think looking at Limitless, the first deck plays the top deck here, or play Limitless plays plays Pidgeot. The second deck plays Drake-Loak. The third deck plays. I'm actually not. Oh, I'm just flipping. Oh, that does not have an engine. Okay. The fourth deck plays. Oh, also Pidgeot. I've seen it with Charizard EX, and I've seen it with Dodonspice as well.
okay,
Um, and I might have seen it with other things. So ultimately, I don't think there's a consistent build or like a build that everyone's running, which could be
yeah.
good or could be bad. But yeah, I think I put it in B tier. I think we kind of agree.
Okay, the first B tier deck, and this is, I think, the first deck we've hit that plays the new Shaman. I think it's important in the
Okay,
deck,
yeah.
right? Because you've got to protect these little guys. Probably
Yeah,
could be
I don't think Shaman's like that meaningful in the metagame. Like we're gonna look at decks. I don't think it's mattered for any of the decks so far. I guess it's technically mattered for Ethan's. Oh, it's mattered for Hydreigon EX, and then it's also mattered for Ethan's Ho-Oh EX with Wilderness Ogre EX, I guess. But ultimately, like it's not gonna matter for that many of the decks, or really almost anything on this list. Because there isn't that much spread. I mean, there's Dragapult, but that's not stopped by Shaman, so that doesn't count. But yeah.
right. All right, so I'm going to put out a deck that I don't think is very good. Well, if you disagree, and that's Hop Zacian.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
It's
was
on
just
our
eyeing that one up too.
right. So that's only played 1% of the time. Just the numbers, a 44% win rate, which is pretty low. So, and I've played it some. It's okay. I've played against it. It's usually not a deck I'm afraid of. Although when you're trying to set up your low HP guys and they get the Hop Zacian, they attach the tool, they get the Snorlax on the bench, and they start picking you off. You can lose games that way for sure if you don't set up. But the 240 damage, you can't attack the next turn. It's a lot of energies. I don't love it. Is what I'll say.
Yeah, no. Ultimately, it's another one of these decks that just doesn't, or I think it does the least damage of any of these decks outside of the ones that don't really attack. And so yeah, I mean, it just doesn't do that much damage. It doesn't really have super high upside. It's like fast and does like some cheap damage good, like really well early on, and then it kind of keeps doing that throughout the course of the game. It has Monkey Dory, but you're not like
Yeah.
super tanky. Um, yeah, I think it's kind of I'd almost compare it to Mario's Grimmsnarl EX, where you're kind of relying on Monkey Dory and some spread and pretty good active damage, but you need to, do some more like Monkey Dory shenanigans as well as other things to get over the hump to actually take your knockouts. And it's worse. Like Hop Slash EX is worse than that by a bit. It is a basic, but and it's cheaper, I guess, but well, actually, functionally, it's actually not cheaper, but yeah, I'd say like I don't know. This isn't like great. I could pop it in like C tier somewhere or something. I could even take
Okay.
it lower, but I don't think so.
I mean, I had it in low D tier. If you want
Low
it
D tier,
like
like
I did, but if you want it like low C tier, I
yeah,
can do
I'll
that.
pop it at the bottom of C. It's not that good. It doesn't really matter.
All right, okay. All right, so what low C tier? So this Zacian is not as good as the Sword and Shield Zacian. I think we can agree with that.
Yeah, yeah. Zacian has some pretty solid cards. It's not a terrible card. It's all right. But now I think you probably have some decks that you think are pretty bad. Or I could go with one that I think's bad. I have one that I think is bad here. That I mean, you know what that deck is. It's Joltic. But we could
Yeah,
talk
let's
about some
leave that off because it's still a highly played deck and it
It
wins a
is.
lot,
It is.
right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And it showed up. It was the fourth most played deck brought to NAIC. So
And then it fell off,
top.
right? You said it fell off.
Yeah, but so let's hang off on that, and we're gonna hang off on Charizard too because that's gonna be a big fight. So I think Ceruledge is good. I don't think it's great. I don't know that you're a big believer in that
Yeah, no,
either, are
I don't
you?
have that much to say. I'd say pop it in B tier. Um,
All right, so Ceruledge, you Squawk ability, Pheasantipity. So B tier, you said?
yeah, I'm popping it below. Um, I mean, I think it's a worse
Oh wait,
Gholdengo. I mean, they're not the same, but I always group them together in my mind. And it's worse. I mean, it's kind of one energy trying to do one shots. It's more once it's set up, but you don't need as much commitment. But Gholdengo's better, and that's that.
y- yeah. All right, where's the Ceruledge in this tier list?
Yeah, it
Did
looks
I
so.
make
It's
it?
kind of hard to see. It doesn't look very red. It's kind of like
No, I
maybe it's
know
a
because it's the Terras are always.
yeah,
Oh,
or
there it
Stella
is. Okay,
specifically. Yeah.
okay. So it's or what you say?
Stellar. I mean, it is a Tera, but like
Oh yes,
Charizard's
Stella,
easy to
but
see, but the Stellars are harder to see.
yeah, they kind of wash out the color. So what you put bottom of B tier?
Yeah, I put it below Ethan's. And then I mean,
Okay.
also I don't think Flareon's very good. I will say that. I mean, I don't think it's like terrible, but
Okay, and I put that in because of you and because you wanted Flareon in. I added some other decks too because I'm not a huge Flareon deck believer in it. Again, it's 40%, 6% win rate. That's not good, really. It's played 3%. I like playing the deck. I will say that. So I don't think it's a great choice to do particularly strong like at an event, but it's a fun deck. It's a box style deck, but the choices you have are usually okay, but not great, is what I'll say.
Yeah, also it's like stage one. It's another one of these decks. There's a few decks I've said this about. I think this was the last one I'll say it about because I mentioned Joltic, I mentioned Ethan's Ho EX. I think it's a worse Tera box. It's like Tera box except all your Pokemon are stage ones. You do have some different things you can do. You can do some more damage with some Pokemon, and you have some cool things you could do with it that could make it better than Tera box in some ways, but overall it's just less impressive to me. Because it's harder to set up a little bit. And so, yeah, I'd say like what B tier is. I mean, it's a deck that some people like. I've definitely seen it in top 10 lists a decent amount, honestly, but I think it's not there. I'd
I
say bottom of
see.
B tier, top of C tier, lower.
I would put Team Rocket's Mewtwo above it, and maybe even Ethan's Typhlosion above it.
Wait, isn't Ethan's
What do you think?
Typhlosion in B tier? You mean Ethan's Ho
Oh, I think
EX?
I had. Oh, oh yeah, that one is. I apologize. I'd probably put it below Team Rocket's Mewtwo. But
Sure,
what do
I'm
you
fine
think?
with that. Yeah, I don't really care. I mean,
Okay,
again, these decks aren't top 10.
it's
They are meaningful to talk about, but yeah, and now
right.
we're getting into decks that could be considered top 10, but it's fine.
Yeah. So what do you want to do now? Do you want to do like Terabox next,
I could do that. I mean, I
or
think I
no?
had that in my top 10.
Or
What decks don't we have in top 10? I think, well, the deck that I have that's lowest here, well, you know the deck I have that's lowest here, right?
yeah, the lowest one I have is Terabox. I
Okay,
honestly I
okay,
have it
we can
honestly
talk about that.
where I put it because my tier list went from S to F, and I put it in D tier. So I
D
don't
tier?
like it.
Oh, wait, okay,
And you're gonna
why
say
don't you like it? I look at
so.
it as
First,
winner is low, but whatever.
it's not
Um,
played much, and it
yep,
doesn't win much. So
yep.
that's not good,
Hmm.
right? Obviously, it can be a lot of different things. The other thing is when you look at the results, it's done well. Like it won an event, but there were 35 people in it. It came in third, 52 people. Okay, it came in 20th in an event with more people. So it came in fourth with 31. It came in 32nd with 202. So it doesn't do well. It does okay, pretty well in big events, and the little small events are very hard to know what to do with, is what I'd say,
Yeah,
right?
I think that's fair. I think the reason that I have this, I don't remember, I had it, I think in the second like half of the top 10. The reason, so I think it was very good, generally agreed upon as like a very good deck last format, not like insane, but pretty good. And theoretically, the new Stadium Team Rockets Watchtower is like really bad for it, and there's a few decks that's it's pretty bad for,
Yeah.
but people aren't like playing it that much. So, and it's still really good. You can hit Grass Weakness, which is even better than it was last format. I think I'm not 100% sure on that one, but I assume yeah, no, it is. And then you also, I mean, yeah, that's just like good, right? It's when I played it, it's felt good. I feel like, and you have arguably the best engine in the game. I think Knockdown Engine is really good. It's not the most consistent, which is like kind of an issue, but it's really strong unless you
Yeah.
do some really really good things. Um, I'd say personally that it's an A tier deck, definitely. And your attacking
Hmm.
Pokemon are good. I guess yes, there's Shaman, which hurts Wells from us. Ogre Pontiacs as well, which is a meaningful, but I think the two Ogre Ponds balance each other out with the changes where the Teal Master Ogre Pond being better is like I mean that's pretty nice. It's noticeably better here. And again, I compare it to Joltic Box as well. I think it's just a better Joltic Box because you have similar attacking Pokemon. You don't have Iron Hands EX. The attacking Pokemon in Joltic Box are a little stronger. I guess. Wait, what are the Iron Hands, Pikachu EX, and Miraidon. Yeah, Miraidon's actually not that good. It's kind of whatever, but um, and then you have. I mean, it's not bad, but regardless, you have an engine, right? You're like Joltik Box, except you have an
Yeah.
engine, and you don't need your attack to power up your Pokemon. Some things are a bit more clunky, and there are some more counters floating around. But I think at least looking at things, their counters being in the game, it matters how much people play them, and they're not played that much. I mean, Shaman's played a bunch, but whatever, you can kind of deal with that. And then again, you can one shot Pokemon like Charizard EX and Grimmsnarl EX and Cynthia's Garchomp EX, and that's pretty cool. Though that's not super easy to do, but it is doable. I guess that's not like super. I don't know. It's nice. It's nice to do. And then also you have I don't know, you just have an engine. You have a good engine. I think that's really important in the game. And I mean, we've been talking about engines a lot today. So I think to me, it's
Yeah.
definitely a top 10 deck. I think they're, as I said, like I had a lot of decks to A tier. I didn't actually make the tier list, but if I did, I would have had a bunch in A tier, potentially the whole top 10. And yeah, I think it's, to me, definitely A tier. Or I don't know, I can
All
see
right,
it in B tier if you really want, but.
all right, here's my concerns. First, Noctowl engine, terrific. Fan Rotom gets you set up,
Yeah.
really good. Okay. You're relying a lot on the Ogre Pawns to attack with, and history doesn't. And Ogre Pawns to go with is sketchy. Is
Wait, isn't
from
Raging
what?
Bolt in your top 10?
Yes, that's different.
And wasn't
It's for
Yanmega, we were
Raging Bolt.
talking, it wasn't
Raging
Yanmega, didn't
Bolt's a
that used
much
to be in your
better.
top 10? Like, this is
Okay,
definitely.
Raging Bolt does a lot more damage than the Ogre Pawns. You're not attacking with this. Here you're relying on attacking with the Ogre Pawns,
Well,
probably.
not as much. I think
Um,
it's like Teal Master
ha-
Opan is good when you're hitting for weakness, right? It's not a good attacker if you're
yeah.
not. It's
I
not even
mean, the
insane
decks I'm
hitting for
looking at
weakness.
plays like look. The one deck plays two of the Wellspring, two of the Teal Masks. It's got like Blood Moon Ursaluna late game, and that's probably what you're attacking with as I look
I mean,
at
you have
it.
Trapdos,
That's
you have
not,
your Pikachu EX, right? I'm sure because
yeah,
we're going
Pikachu
to talk about
EX.
Joltic Box, and we're going to talk about Pikachu EX with Joltic Box.
Yeah,
And yeah,
yeah. So it's. I'm concerned. So where do you want it?
I said
I
A
guess is
tier,
what.
but I don't think you want an A tier. I don't think we're going to end up putting an A tier. I can't see it lower than B tier. Um, I mean, I think it's definitely better
Okay.
than all the decks we've talked about so far. Again, I think I said it's like better than Flareon. Do you think it's better than Flareon? Because I think it's clearly better than Flareon.
And Flareon. Um, Maybe I'd rather play Flareon myself. I got to say,
Because you
but
like it more,
I'll
though, right?
yeah, and I'll do better than Flareon probably, but it's more versatile than Flareon. So I'll put it top of B tier. So you can
Okay.
live with that, right?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Okay. So that's our compromise there. So let's do Joltic box because you've been, you ready to do that?
Yeah, I'm ready to do it. I've been ready this whole time. I guess. I don't think the oh, I clicked on the wrong thing. I don't think the viewers are ready for Joltic Fox, but yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure
So
someone's gonna
look,
like flip to the end of the video and say like, why is Joltic Fox so low? Or maybe it does end up being high. I don't think it will though. And then they're gonna be like, what? This doesn't make any sense, and like not watch the whole video, or just like skip past us talking about it and get confused. But yeah, I think this deck is bad. Well, I don't know if I'd say bad. I think
uh,
I just had it a
all
little
right.
outside top 10.
All right, let me give the arguments for it, okay? Because
Yeah.
I put it fifth overall, and I think it's fifth or sixth overall. Be honest with you. The downside, it's got a small engine, as I would say. It's got Pheasantipity. I think it always is going to play that probably, but that's it. So that's not great. Here's the
And Mew,
good thing,
yes, is
Joltic.
usually in it.
Yeah, I think you're right about that as well. Yeah. Now I don't love Mew EX because you get a couple cards over the course of the game. Is usually how it goes for me, but
Yeah.
maybe
No,
you,
yeah,
you,
with this
you can
deck,
play
it's
it
also
better.
true.
Yeah, because I don't. Yeah, so you're not getting small hands necessarily. So Joltik, its attack is very good though. It accelerates four energies, right? Two grass and two lightning. So it's not three or two. It's four. That's a lot of energy to accelerate from a single prize Pokemon, right? And everything else is multi two prizers. So the idea is the Joltik doesn't matter. You set up with that. You can't use it again, right? You're just using it once on your first turn, and then and then everything else is two prizes after that. So that prize on the Joltik is you ignore it, right? So that's not terrible. You have Miraidon in the deck, which helps you set up. That's really good, and you can attack with it. And then you got Pikachu with its ability, very good, right? It does 300 damage for 3 energy. That's quite nice. You lose all the energy. That part's not so good. But then if it be knocked out, the HP if it and had full HP, the HP becomes 10. So you can't get one shot by a lot of decks, so that's really good. You can power up Iron Hands with it. You have Blood Moon or Saluna, which of course does 240 late game, so that's good as well. So it has like a nice set of things in it. Iron Leaves EX I see in the list. I think you probably would always play that in the deck as well, because grass is good, and that's just a nice way to go. So it's got a nice set of attackers, right? Is what I'd say. It doesn't have the engine, so that's the downside, but a nice set of attackers in the deck.
Yeah, as I said, we were talking about different decks, different toolbox decks. As I said, I think this set of attackers is a little better than Terra Box. Do you think that's a fair analysis, or do you think it's like a lot better? I mean, like it has two main
Um,
attackers, right? And one of them is in Terra Box. Though it's easier to set up
yeah.
here, but
it's easier to set up here, I think, than Tera Box probably. So in Tera Box, yeah. So I mean, I like it. You can play Prime Catcher for Ace Spec with Joltic, which I like that too. You don't need
I'd say like
Sparkling
yeah, I guess, but like
Crystal.
yeah. So the reasons, or do you have more stuff to say about it before I might
No,
jump in?
that's a lot of it. That's good. Go ahead. So I think it's a solid deck. I think at least. So even if you're going to hate on it, I think you got to say it's solid.
I
But
think
go
yeah. I
ahead.
mean, I don't think it's like some terrible deck. But so the reasons I don't like it, one, it doesn't play an engine. And two, like a lot of decks don't play engines in the game right now. And I don't like that honestly. Like I mean, there's some decks.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it as we get into a few more of the top decks. But ultimately, this is a deck that also needs a bunch of things because I don't love setup attacks in general because you're leaving yourself vulnerable to stuff. Like if your opponent could like gust around the Joltik and then like that's not great. And they could even like just knock out the Pokemon you accelerate to, which isn't great. Or the Pikachu actually get hidden to it. Regardless, a lot of stuff, bad stuff can happen. And then also you have so I don't love that. And again, it can happen. And then also once your first Pokemon is knocked out, because so you have two Pokemon that you have two main attackers. You have Iron Hands EX, which is gonna take well, all the energy from Joltik, right? It's 4 energy, and
Yeah. If
so
you do that, yes,
yeah,
it will.
if you do that, and then you're gonna kind of struggle to power up your next Pokemon beyond that, and so you need Iron Hands EX to be like really good. You do have tools which can help keep the energy on the board, I guess, but they're not like insane or super reliable. They're all right. So you're kind of relying on Crispins, and then you're not using Boss's Orders, which is like really important with Iron Hands EX. So that's not great. It's a little clunky there. And then you have Pikachu EX, and that's pretty hard to like. The idea of the ability is really nice to keep you alive, which is nice. I'm not going to sit here and deny that. However, then you lose all the energy, or not all. You lose 3 energies, which is potentially all the energy, presumably all the energy, because also like Joltik accelerates 4 energy, but it doesn't even pay Pikachu EX's attack cost, which isn't like the end of the world, but it's a little awkward. And then it's going to be hard to attack again with it. And then if you are attacking again with it, then you've accelerated or you've attached 6 energies to it, which is a lot. And it doesn't even one shot everything either. It doesn't one shot like any of the stages 2 EXs essentially either, which is kind of bad. So ultimately, I feel like your attacking Pokemon, like Iron Hands EX, can be really good, but it's a little situational or relies a lot on Gust, which again, you have Prime Catcher, you have Boss, you can do that. And also, then your Pikachu EX is just not an attacking Pokemon that is really going to get the job done all the time. And its ability is nice, but then people do play Monkey Dory a lot as well in the game, so that's not as nice. I will say, I think, well, one Liz Clefairy EX is a good card. It's a little awkward in this deck because I mean, it's a fourth type of energy, but it's pretty good. And then Iron Leaf EX is also a card that is really nice in the game. I'm going to talk actually a little bit more about that when I talk about my top deck, but Iron Leaf EX is very good. And then so it's really good sometimes. When it's good, it's really good. And then I will also say that I found myself when I played with this deck, I found myself running out of energy. And actually playing against it, I've also found myself running out of energy in the entire deck because it plays 13 energy in the list I'm looking at, and
Yeah.
you need like a lot. It needs to be in the deck as well if you need to Crispin. And you can like run out, like not necessarily completely run out, but like kind of run out and then to run out of steam and not be able to finish games out. And that's my experience with the deck. Honestly, it's win rate's solid. Its win rate's pretty good. It's being played a bunch, and I can't deny that. I could see it in B tier. I don't think it's A tier. I mean, I don't think it's horrible. Um, but I'm not a. I don't think it's top 10. I don't think it's like putting in top 10 is crazy. I think that's fair. I think putting in top 5, which I know a lot of people do. I think you did. I think that's. I'd heavily disagree with that though. Yeah.
All right. So I think it's like bottom end to top 10 probably. I think you're relying on Blood Moon Ursaluna late game a lot
Yeah.
because of that
Mhm.
situation. With Joltik, you need 2 energies to accelerate to a Pikachu, and then you accelerate to another Pikachu or another 2 energies to another Pokemon, right? Because you still have to attach the metal energy from a hand the next turn to attack with Pikachu. So even though you lose all the energy off the Pikachu, you have 2 energies already on another attacker,
Yeah.
is how it should be going for you. So and you do, and this might be the first deck that's playing the The Lili's Clefairy EX that we've talked about. I'm not sure.
That'd be Tera Box. Tera Box certainly has.
Yeah, Tera Box does as well. So, and obviously the two of the top decks are dragon type, are dragon. I mean, yeah, dragon. So hitting those for weakness, and now you can Iron Hands. You can take 3 prizes off of those Pokemon, so that's
Wait,
quite
what?
nice there. Well,
No.
with hitting well, Raging Bolt, you
No,
one
you
shot,
don't.
right?
What? No, you hit with psych. They're weak to psychic, so you'd
A
attack with
weak to
like
Psychic.
something
Oh,
else.
that's
Yeah.
right. I take that back. So
Yeah, Iron Hands
yeah,
could
forget
take
that. So
3 prizes on like Pidgeot or something. Squawkabilly as well. That's meaningful, I guess.
all right. So is it the top of B tier at this point?
Yeah,
Is
I'm
that
okay
where
with putting it at top of B tier.
you're
I don't
okay
I
with
don't
that?
love it. I do think Tera Box is better, but I'm fine with putting it over it.
Okay. It's so to you they're kind of close, right?
Yeah.
That and Tera Box. Okay. So top of B tier. So let's. I think we skipped this one, which I think neither of us like too much, and that's Roaring Moon,
Oh yeah,
right?
Roaring Moon's okay. I don't honestly know what to say about Roaring Moon. I haven't really played it that much. I'm actually going to mention Archaludon here too. They're both generally poison based. I mean, there's Archaludon with what Team Rocket's Venture Bomb or whatever that item card's called, which is definitely interesting, I guess. I don't think either of them are super impressive in the game right now. I think they're okay. I haven't really messed with them. I messed with them a lot last format, and then I kind of just stopped. And then I don't see them as much now either. I don't think they're like horrible or anything, but I think they're fine. I could see them in different spots. I think I had Archaludon in the top 10, and oh, I don't think I have Roaring Moon on this list. So yeah, I'm trying to
All
look.
right.
This
So
isn't organized very well, but yeah, I mean, I think they're both like. I think Roaring Moon's okay. Ultimately, as a Pokemon, I mean, you can take one shots, which is really meaningful though. Because a lot of the decks are mainly are Stage 2 EXs.
yeah. So look, Roaring Moon pre-rotation, I liked it. I played it more than you did. I don't think you ever even liked it then. The EX, particularly. This doesn't play. The lists I've seen aren't playing the single prize Roaring Moon, and we don't have Ancient Box here at all. So, anyway, that's unfortunate. Too bad, but it is what it is. I do like Ancient Box,
Yeah,
but
it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
it's the Roaring Moon deck plays the poison. I don't. The Archaludon doesn't necessarily play the poison, so
Yeah.
I don't think. So let's talk
I think
Roaring
it's
Moon
best with
first
the
because
poison. I will still say that.
I think Roaring Moon without Dark Patch now you've got to rely on Energy Switch because you're to set up assuming you're probably getting knocked out because you're 230 HP. So you've got to power up 3 energies every turn. So Professor Sada's Vitality accelerates 2 energies. So one accelerates to that, one to another one. You have to manually attach, and you have to move an energy with energy switch. You're now going to have that. So I don't love that about it. I got to say the
Yeah.
poison is nice because you can. Well, I guess what you're also doing at times, you're sending up the single prize, the P.E.K.K.A Runt, right? The single prize P.E.K.K.A Runt into the active at some point during the game. Because now you're putting 5 plus 2 more. So you're putting 8 damage counters from poison between turns with that up there. So that's what 160 damage before you get back again. Because
Yeah, potentially.
assuming because if you attack with Pekka then they can't retreat
Yeah,
either.
that's true.
So I think you're gonna have to attack with it sometimes, which obviously the side sets that up.
Yeah, or the energy switch. Yeah, both
Yeah,
sides.
yeah, right. So it's so the poison part's interesting. I don't love the deck though, so it's going. What is it? It's somewhere in C tier, I guess.
Yeah, I put it at the
Low
top
C
of C
tier.
tier. Wait, what?
Okay, you want top of C tier?
Yeah, I think it's like okay. I mean, I think I could be good. I don't know. I don't really see it that much. I haven't really played it that much. Um, it's cool. I mean, I think it's all right. I think pack run is really important. An early pack run as Ultram going first can allow to lead to potentially donks, but more likely just an early knockout for an extra prize and pressuring your opponent's board by removing something. Also can use Monkey Dory better than a lot of decks as well because it's a darkness deck, or using darkness energy specifically. So I think it's fine. It's just nothing amazing. If someone had it in their top 10, I wouldn't like think that's crazy, but I mean, I certainly don't think it's there. I mean, based on the amount it's played, honestly, I just don't have it there.
Yeah, I mean its win rate's 46%, play 2%. Look, I don't think it's as good as Mewtwo, Team Rocket's Mewtwo.
Okay,
Are
I could
you
drop it
okay
down.
with putting it below
That's
that?
sure, I guess. I don't know. I
Okay.
disagree, but it doesn't really matter that much.
Okay,
Um,
it's getting close. All right. So we'll talk Archaludon now because you brought that up. I think Archaludon is just a better deck. I gotta say. Um, the list I've called up don't usually play the poison package.
yeah, I think they've
Although
kind of stopped. I do think that I mean I don't know I used to really like Archaludon. I mean, really liked it with the poison stuff. I think Monkey Door is kind of terrible in the deck, honestly. I played a lot of Archaludon last format. That was my main deck, and I cut the Monkey Door very quickly. I found it pretty terrible. And pretty just like a card that you couldn't use that often. But anyways, it's really good with Team Rocket's Venture Bomb, I guess. I've not played that card that much this format, but yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, so here's the nice things about the deck. First, it's a tanky stage one, 300 HP. That's really good. It accelerates two metal energies, but like you talked about with Monkey Dory in the deck, you're not getting knocked out, hopefully. So you can probably use Monkey Dory, but you still have to manually attach an energy as well as the ability. So you're not always going to have the ability to attach energy to the Monkey Dory, because I don't think the list is playing Crispin.
Yeah, no.
You could, of course, but I don't think you are probably. What it does do here's the big plus for me is the deck plays Team Rocket's Venture Bomb, and I know you're excited about that. And
Yeah,
I was a hater on it,
that's a cool card.
but this deck uses it for real, right? You flip a coin. If heads, you put damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. It can be the active or the bench, which is good. Or if it's tails, put two damage counters on yourself. And then with the Archaludon, you're 300 HP. But the deck also gets to play Relicanth. Get to copy the attacks of the bait of previous stages, so you can use the Raging Hammer 80 plus 10 more. So you have that as a benefit as well. So I that's a lot of fun for me, I got to say. So I like the
Yeah.
Team Rockets Relicanth aspect of the deck. So I not sold that it's a great deck, but I think it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I will mention one more thing that is kind of weird. So your attack does 10 damage for each damage counter on it. It does some base damage, but that's what it does. And then Team Rocket's Venture Bomb, or like you have damage on yourself, but I'm pretty sure you're not surviving two shots, right? So Monkey Dory isn't healing you out of that range. And then Monkey Dory heals and moves damage, but the healing, as we said, doesn't really matter. And then the doing damage also doesn't matter because you're doing less damage when you attack because you'll be healing the damage off. So essentially, you're like doing neutral damage with Monkey Dory. So if you're doing that situation, which is like kind of funny.
Well, I think the Monkey Dory is with if you're using the Archaludon's attack, the 220, right? Attack, then obviously getting rid of damage is good. So up first turn, you want to attack with Archaludon, and you're hoping to get multiple turns out of it. I think you have to do that in order to win the game. So where do you want to put it on the tier list? So let's get to the.
I'll let you choose. I honestly, I don't have strong opinions on it in this.
I had it as 10th deck, but I don't know that it really goes. So it's is it above the Ethan's Typhlosion, you think?
I could see it there.
Below
I think
that?
I'd say it's right next to it. I don't know. Yeah, right above's fine, I guess.
Okay. It's essentially it's at that level, right? That's where we're at. So we'll put it one spot above it, because it can't be the same, but it's kind of that level probably.
Yeah, I just counted and I think there might be 10. Anyways, yeah.
All right, so we've got obviously we're getting long here. What do we have, like 6-7 decks left? So all right, so all right, let's talk about the deck I really like a lot that you're not going to like as much, and that's Gholdengo EX, which I have on my list as 4th overall. You're going to say I'm crazy.
No, I've said like because we talked about this, and I've said like I don't love Gholdengo, but I think it's pretty solid. I think it is in the top tier. I will say that. I had at 6.
Okay.
But I have some decks that like.
I mean, I had it in A tier because I had 2 S tier decks, but I think it's one of the top 4 or 5 decks. Its win rate is 55%. That's really good. It makes it on the looking at the archetypes, it's the highest win rate of anyone. It's played 5%, which puts it like the 6th, 7th most played deck, but it wins a lot. And you get, I actually have not played it yet with Dragapult. I need to do that because that's, I think, a good engine. I think it's still a Gholdengo deck that can attack with Dragapult on occasion, right? Because it's using the Drake-Loke for the engine. I played it in the past with the Dunsparce, which I like, and that can work with that. But here I think Gholdengo get the Drake-Loke set up, and I have the threat of a Dragapult at some point. I see that as pretty appealing as well. So, yeah, so a good deck. So I think this is our first A tier deck then?
Yeah, I think so. And it's a one-shine deck, right? There's a couple of one-shine decks here.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of Stage 2 EX decks here that we're going to talk about, and that's it. Well, I guess one's both. But yeah, and one-shine is really good against Stage 2 EXs and other things. And Gholdengo's, I mean, it's like, its HP's whatever, but it's surviving, like, it's not getting one-shotted by things that aren't aiming to specifically one-shot, and it's not like it's super squishy or super tanky. It's fine.
Yeah, what it does just quickly on the engine part, it doesn't have the search ability like Noctowl, but between Goldengos in play, you're probably drawing like 4 cards maybe per turn, plus either the Dracoloaks or the Dunsparce. You're going with those engines, you're seeing like what, 7, 8 potentially cards a turn, something like that. So you have a good chance of getting the cards you need with the deck. So it works out, I think.
Yeah, I will say that I can sometimes struggle to close out games if you're hit by disruption, then you can't draw your superior into retrievals or something like that. But it's still pretty good.
Yeah. All right. So do we want to do? Oh, we Cynthia's Garchomp. We didn't say that, right?
Yeah, so
I
I
don't
had
think
that
there was.
as I think that deck's pretty good. So should I say why I have that deck?
Yeah, I mean, I put it at seventh. What do you think with
Yeah, I
it?
put it I put it as the top deck. I think it's really good.
Top deck.
I don't actually know if it's the best deck. I think it's the deck I've been playing in this format right now. So Cynthia's Garchomp EX is definitely the deck I'm most excited to talk about here today, or probably. I mean, there's some arguably more fun decks, but so first of all, what are your impressions on Cynthia's Garchomp EX?
I mean, look, the stats: 4% play rate, pretty good. 50% win rate, pretty good. It's got in terms of an engine, it doesn't really. It's got the Gibble or
Goodbye.
the Gabite. Sorry, that searches for a Cynthia's Pokemon, right? So that's good, but that's it for the engine, I think, basically. So
You do
that's
have the
that.
attack that draws you till you have 6 cards in hand as well, which does smooth things out through the course of the game.
Right. Now, I think live, last I played, it made me draw 6 cards. It
Yes, it
didn't
is
give me the
glitched in a way.
choice.
Yeah.
So you can deck yourself out with it, unfortunately. But it's not supposed to do that. So we won't hold that against the deck.
Yeah, and it's not. I've never
Um,
had that matter either.
yeah, I actually haven't decked out from it either. It's nice and 330 HP. That's good. You have what do we do? So,
Cynthia's power
and then
weight.
you have, Cynthia's power weight. You're play 3 or 4 copies of that, plus 70 HP. So that's very good there. You need some stadiums to bump jamming tower. So now you're at 400 HP. So you're not getting one shot. So that it makes it a lot of fun. So, and because you like the stage one, you're playing like the list I'm looking at, playing one rare candy, both listed. That's probably what you're doing, which is nice. You don't have to fill up your deck with rare candies or have to Arvin for rare candy all the time. So I like being able to play through the stage one as well. So I like the deck. I don't love the deck.
hmm So the reason I like it, I mean, we're going to talk about some different decks here. Actually, let's talk about Mars Grimmsnarl EX2 as well. I think I want to talk about that. These two side by
Okay.
side. Where's that? Is that your top deck? That's not your top deck, is it?
I have it as number one, yes.
Oh, it is number one.
Which
Okay.
you're
Yeah, I don't
you
think
don't
it's
like that deck.
terrible. I think I had it. I don't know. It's somewhere in I think the middle of the top 10. But Mars Grimmsnarl EX, what it does is it accelerates to itself, so it does power itself up, which is really good. And then it has the deck plays Frostlass Mojidori to get some extra damage on the board. And then also it plays and then it attacks for 180 and 30 snipe. The snipe damage is okay. It can matter. It's not going to be consistently taking multiple extra prizes throughout the game. I can't imagine. But certainly taking an extra prize is certainly something that can happen there with your bench damage. And then you're not really taking one shots with this, but you can be pushing to that number, especially with like Frostless Monkey Dory, and you're like okay, like your tankiness is okay. Monkey Dory helps, but also you're damaging yourself with Frostlass, so it's a little weird.
Yeah.
And so Cynthia's Garchomp EX is doing a little less damage with its first attack. Well, I guess it does 100, but then you have Cynthia's Roserade to boost your damage. And then you are a two-prizer, but you're super tanky. This is the tankiest deck in the game, outside of, I guess, Steven's Bendigo CX, maybe, but that's like played less, and I mean, it's weaker. I wanted it to be good, but it's not quite good enough. But then you have that tool, so you're super tanky. Even without the tool, you're still very tanky. But with the tool, you actually survive a hit from Iron Leaves EX, which is like kind of crazy. And then you have Cynthia's Spiritomb. And this is the card that, to me, really helps the deck be really good. Cynthia's Spiritomb does 10 damage for each damage counter on all your bench Cynthia's Pokemon, and I guess it doesn't hit weakness, apparently. And then it attacks only one colorless, and it's a basic single prizer. That's really good. And its HP and damage can be boosted by Cynthia's Roserade and Cynthia's Power Weight, which is really good. Or it's nice. It's not, like, insane, but it's good. So it's a Pokemon that can do huge damage for a single prizer. When you have your Cynthia's Garchomp EX, it's damage on the bench, which will happen. And then you also have Cynthia's Garchomp EX's second attack. It's not as important to the deck, or it's not as like used as you might like, because it does one shots on a lot of things with Cynthia's Roserade. Without it, it's still like strong but not insane. And also Cynthia's Garchomp EX does have free retreat, which is meaningful, but overall the deck just works really well. Cynthia's Garchomp EX has arguably the best stats of any Pokemon in the entire game with the buffs on it. And then Cynthia's Spiritomb is like It's really nice. It's a card that's the card that I think I underrated when looking at the stack for the first time. But yeah, I think the stack is really good. I don't necessarily think it's the best stack in the game. I don't know. I think it's pretty close. I think it's definitely in that top tier. And really surprised me and surpassed my expectations because of its like solid engine. You have not like amazing, but Cynthia's Combine plus to search Cynthia's Garchomp EX to draw means that you do set up pretty nicely. Comparing it to Martin's Grimmsnarl EX, we have Spike with Gym. Spike with Gym is at most once per turn and can get bumped. So Cynthia's way is definitely better in my opinion than Spike with Gym by a noticeable margin, especially because your entire deck is Cynthia's as opposed to Marnie's, where you're doing other things as well. But yeah, I think these decks are honestly, I'd say they're kind of comparable. I do like Cynthia's a little more. I imagine it's not going to go above Marnie's on this list, but yeah, and then Marnie's is like fine.
I mean, the arguments of why Marnie's, I think, goes above Cynthia's first. Marnie's just played a lot. It's played like 11%.
It has higher. It has better stats in tournaments.
In a higher win rate. So 50% win rate for the most played deck means it's a good deck, because when it's played a lot, it means it's played by some newer people and less skilled people as well. You know,
Cynthia's was literally given out free to everyone.
Yeah, look, I played it Cynthia's a little bit. It didn't gel for me. And when I play against it, I'm not worried about it, I gotta say. So
what decks are you playing? Like because you're not one-shotting it.
Well, I can with Gholdengo.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Play that.
It's still like it's quite a bit of effort.
Yeah, the Garchomp deck. When I look at the lists here, they're playing Unfair Stamp, and decks that want to play Unfair Stamp means you're kind of slowing the game down and kind of hoping, right? That's kind of how they feel. And when I play decks like that, it doesn't usually go well. So I don't love it. I gotta say that's kind of where my feeling. Now I haven't played the Marty's Grimmsnarl a lot. I played it without the Frostlass at first, and that wasn't so good, right? I don't think. The other nice thing about the Marty's Grimmsnarl is that because it accelerates the energy to itself, now I can always attach an energy to Munkidori every turn, and that's a big deal because that's always a big complaint for a lot of Munkidori decks. Well, two things: some of the decks they get like one shot, which is why I don't like it in Gholdengo, because Gholdengo, when it gets hit into, can get one shot too much, and you don't have free energy attachments. So I don't, but you have it in this deck, so that's really good there. Yeah. So I like it. You have the Maractus too. That's kind of fun to kind of get them stuck in it too. So that's kind of fun, and not give up a prize during as the game goes on. So I prefer the Marnie's deck, but I guess you can kind of make them close-ish. I guess if you want to.
Okay, so Cynthia's at S tier. No, I don't have it as S tier. So you'll say, I think both these decks are better than Gholdengo. I guess. Wait, where did I put Marnie's? I have my list in front of me, and my phone went to sleep. I had Marnie's at just below Gholdengo, and then as I said, I had Cynthia's at the top. That's being more subjective. I mean, it is subjective, but.
So I think yes, they're both above Gholdengo if you want that. I wouldn't put the Cynthia's above it, but okay, I can accept that. So I'll put Cynthia's top A tier. I think the Marnie's is above the Cynthia's, so that's either S or A tier.
Okay, I'm not going to put it S tier. I think S is like broken, like potential consideration for ban worthy, and it's definitely not that, right?
No, there's nothing that's like at that level right now, which is good.
Yeah,
which is a good thing. Yeah. So, all right, so we got 4 decks left. What do you want to talk about next?
I think we'll talk about Gardevoir. I think Gardevoir is definitely better than all these decks on this list. Honestly, probably. It's very strong. It's a single prize deck. It has its issues without an engine, right? I mean, you can play an engine, but the engines aren't great for it. And then but I mean, you can one shot anything for a single prizer. And that's really good. Yeah, I mean, it's been good for a while. There's not too much to break down with it, honestly, but I think it's pretty good. I don't know. I could see it anywhere in A tier, but I think, I don't know. I'd put it at the top, or I wouldn't. I'd put it below Cynthia's, but I think it probably should go at the top.
All right, so I mean, I had it 5th overall, kind of even below Joltic box, which of course is a crime to you.
Overall.
I had Joltic 5th. I had Gardevoir 6th, but they were kind of close.
Okay.
I think Gholdengo's better, but I know most people don't agree with that, so I'm not gonna insist on that. And look, it is the NAIC final is a Gardevoir mirror, so the problem is it doesn't have an engine, right? Or sometimes it plays Enzorark, but I
Yeah,
don't
it's like
think
kind of
that's good.
sketchy.
So the problem is you don't have an engine. It's nice. It's a box style deck. I like that a lot. You like that as well. It's single prize attackers, so you're only giving up one prize. Your opponent will boss occasionally, but they can't boss like they probably can't boss you 3 times in a row to knock out 2 prize Pokemon. So they've got to take at least 4 knockouts to win the game. So that's really good. You can do big damage. I'm just concerned. My concern is the setup, and when I play it, it's always a little. It's a little
I'm
awkward
fine.
setting
I'm fine
setting up.
bumping it down. Honestly, I don't like love the deck. I think it's like been good for a while. One thing I don't like about it is, especially like jamming tower. It's played some, and your opponent like plays it and then like takes a knockout with jamming tower,
Okay.
and that's like not great. So, okay, I can see
All
it
right.
lower. I can see it at the
So,
bottom of A tier.
but so below Gholdengo, we'll put it
Sure,
then.
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of it's close to Gholdengo is what I'd say, and I think you probably agree about
Yeah,
that.
as I said, I think a lot of these decks are kind of close. Then we have Dragapult. I think we could put Dragapult at the top. I mean, it's played a lot. It's the most played deck in the game right now. It's strong, right? It's really annoying to play against. If the deck I'm
Yes.
most scared of playing against is probably Dragapult. Um, yeah, and
Yeah.
it sets up
Look,
decently well.
it's got an engine with the Dracoloak, so that's really nice. And again, you don't have to rely on rare candies. The win rate's about 50%, so that's not great. I mean, that's not. I'd like to see better than that for potentially the top deck. I think
Yeah, but it is the
what
most played deck. I feel like it's the deck. Also, it's being targeted by a lot of decks. Like people are playing Low Fairy EX, and
yes.
yeah,
Yeah, the other deck, it's like there's Dragapult in the decks that can one-shot Dragapult, which are the best decks generally right now. The thing is with Dragapult, when it sets up, it's basically game over, but it doesn't always set up. That's the problem,
I
right?
will say I don't like the builds of Dragapult. I think Sparkling Crystal's really good because it just helps you set up way easier. It's like super solid for setting up, and people don't play that, so I guess they're not as worried about that. But that can be really good.
Okay. All right, so let's go with what I think
There's
is one of the
Dragapult
top
at the
decks.
top. I'm popping it at the top
I'll
right now.
put it at the top of A tier, yeah. And you don't want it S tier, right?
No, I mean I don't think it's like. I mean, based on what you said, you don't think it's STR either.
Okay, now I'm going to say a deck that I think's better than Dragapult. You don't. And that's Raging
I
Bolt.
might.
It, it,
I could see that.
it's a beast, right? It just one shots like it does
Everything
huge damage,
essentially.
right?
Yeah, it
Better.
doesn't
So
necessarily one
and it
shot. It
does
doesn't necessarily one shot Garchomp EX. Like I mean, it can, but it's not
right,
super easy to do so.
and it's got one of the best engines around. Possibly the best engine. It plays Noctowl and TMS Gogurpon, which so you're drawing a couple random cards with the Ogrepon, and you're searching for 2 trainers that you want, like potentially every turn. So that's as good an engine I think as there is in the game right now.
I guess the downside with the engine is that it is an engine that you're kind of putting resources into. You need to evolve your Noctowl. You need to attach the energies, and you are kind of like these are good things to do. I'm getting the energies on the board. That's partially why it's in
Hmm.
the deck. Probably a big reason why. But then
Yeah.
Noctowl is strong, but again, there is the stadium as well. And so those are the reasons I push back on it. I could actually, again, I could see it at the top. I think it kind of depends. It's really good against the other top decks in the game that
Yeah.
are like trying to not get one-shotted, right?
I mean, I can. Why don't we make it second below Dragapult?
Okay.
Okay, I think it's probably it's either that or above Dragapult, right? It's at that level, basically. Right?
Yeah, it's pretty yeah it's different. It's definitely different than most of the decks on here. I say most comparable to like Gholdengo maybe, but they're not like that similar.
Right. Okay, and then the last one, which you like a lot. I don't like the deck. I'm going to say why it's bad, and you're going to say why it's good. And this is Charizard. Charizard as a Pokemon is really good, so I'm not saying it's not. It's one of
Yeah.
the best cards in the game. But when you look at Limitless, they don't count Charizard Dragapult as a Charizard deck. So that's one question. If you don't count the Dragapult builds, then it's not that good because the win rate's actually 46%. That's not good.
Well,
They
yeah,
play it
but mhm.
with Pidgeot EX maybe, or with Dusknoir, or sometimes with other attackers, which you can do, right? Because it accelerates more energy than it needs, so you can play other fire attackers. Anyway, that's what the argument's against. Why do you think it's you think it's one of the top
I mean,
decks? So go ahead.
you just said it was one of the best cards in the game. Like comparing, I think, yeah, I guess also this one should be compared to Mario Grimmsnarl EX. Um, it accelerates to itself, but it can accelerate to other things, which is nice, and meaningful sometimes. And then it does more damage in the late game. The only downside, in my opinion, is, well, you don't have Spike Myth or whatever that card is, but whatever. And then you also don't have you aren't using Darkness Energy, which means that you can't use Monkey Door very well. But ultimately, you do more damage. Like you can take one shots in the late game, and then again, you're like a little more versatile with your energy acceleration. Yes, Mars Grimmsnarl EX can power up Mars Mopico, but like I can't think of the last time I've seen that. Actually, no, the last time I saw that was definitely right when it came out. But yeah, I mean, it just feels pretty good. Ultimately, I think it's actually pretty similar to Mars Grimmsnarl EX in terms of Pokemon. They're very, very similar Pokemon in my eyes. Yeah, I mean, they're just
Yeah.
very similar, except I can do more damage in the late game. And yeah, I mean, I don't think there's too much more to break down than that, in my opinion. I think it's a pretty. I don't know. I've always viewed Charizard pretty much the same since it came out. It's like very good, strong, pretty consistent. I guess like Badoo could be annoying, but like whatever, right? That's true for other decks as well. Yeah, I just think it's very similar to Mars Grimmsnarl EX. I think people try to like get fancy, and we talked about this some off recording, that people try to get
Yeah.
fancy with Charizard, and then it doesn't go so well because like if you put all these one-ofs, then yeah, maybe Charizard can support it, but it can't always support it, and the card's just very strong, and just kind of lean into it being very strong.
It's good. I think adding too many other attackers or maybe any other attackers might be a mistake. And I think adding too much of the Dusknoir line I think isn't good because you just take too much deck space. That's my thought. But I think keep it simple. Charizard, Pidgeot, and a little bit of other stuff is good. I look if you want to put it, you want to. I like it more than Marnie's Grimmsnarl, I will say. So you want to put it third, or where do you want it? You want
No,
an A
I don't
tier,
know.
right?
Yeah, I could put it at the bottom of
You
A
want
tier. I'm fine with it at the bottom of A tier. I think that might have been where I
okay.
put it, honestly.
Yeah, below Gholdengo. It's above Joltic. That's very important to you.
Yeah, I think Joltik's
I
bad.
know.
I'm very happy that we didn't end up putting it in A tier. I think Joltik in the top 10. I mean, I don't love it. I don't love it above Tera Box, but it's not a terrible deck, you know. I'm pretty happy with this tier list. We're a little long, but that's fine. That's fine. There's a
Yeah.
lot of decks to
All
push
right.
down here.
So why don't you close us out? Why don't you read off the top 10 decks to close the podcast for us?
Yeah. So wait, how many are there in A tier? There's 7, right? Yeah,
Yes.
so top 10.
So
I'll give an honorable mention to Ethan's. We said Ethan's Typhlosion. We said that was like pretty close. But then we have our Archaludon EX at 10. Then we got Noctowl Tera Box at 9. We got Joltik Box at 8. Moving to the top tier decks, which are closer, we got Charizard EX, Gardevoir EX, Gholdengo EX, Cynthia's Garchomp EX, Mario's Grimmsnarl EX, Raging Bolt EX, and Dragapult EX. So they're mostly EXs. Or well, they're all EXs, I guess. Joltik and Noctowl aren't EXs, but the Pokemon that you attack with are all EXs, I think. So, yeah, what we learned is EXs are really good, and we already knew that. But yeah, this is the top 10. I think we're okay with this list. End up going okay. I think we disagree on some, but we came to conclusions, and I'm happy with them or okay with them.
yeah, no, I'm good with it too. So let us know in the comments on our YouTube videos what you agree, what you don't agree with, because I'm sure everyone's not going to agree with what we did. So yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed the podcast. Check us out on your podcast at Player if you want to do that, or check out both of our YouTube channels. So have a good week playing some Pokemon.
See ya.